What's up, guys? Houston here. Someone asked the question, should Navy Federal business account be my primary bank account? My answer to that is no, all right? And I know that some of you all may be scratching your heads because when you open up your business account, you went to Navy Federal, they gave you a credit card, they gave you a loan, but here's the thing about it. With Navy Federal, all right, here's the problem. They do not report to the business credit bureaus, okay? That's the problem with Navy Federal business accounts, all right? Now, should you and how do you actually get a Navy Federal business account when you're just brand new? So when you're brand new and you're joining Navy Federal, there's 2 credit scores that you actually need, right? So you're gonna need a 9 and then the other credit score is your N score. So you're gonna need 2 scores in order to get qualified. Now, here's the thing about it. When you first join Navy Federal, all right, one of the biggest things that will automatically get you denied where they would not open up you a business checking account is because you may be doing a high risk type of business. Now, some of you all are like, well, what's high risk? So when I say high risk, I mean like your N code, okay? So some of your high risk type of business would be like credit repair, another one like ATM, like if you're distributing like money orders. So those would be your high risk NAICS codes, all right? So that's the reason that a lot of people, when they go to Navy Federal, here's another one, MLM, you have a restaurant. So you have MLMs, you have restaurants. So those are high risk, okay? Now, some people say, well, I did consulting. Let me tell you something. This consulting thing here, with Navy Federal, they are very picky. I've had attorneys get denied because they had put in that they're doing legal consulting and they denied them. All right. So you have to be very careful with this term because I know a lot of people around the internet and stuff saying, oh, here's a consulting NAICS code. This is a low risk NAICS code. Usually with a lot of financial institutions, when you're talking about consulting, that means that you're living out of a briefcase type of situation. And so they look at that as high risk. All right. So the problem with that, with some of these, is that when you're getting into like real estate or something like that, which is also a high risk, a lot of these institutions look at you as if you're gambling with their money. Day trading, like you're gambling with their money, okay? So you have to step away from those. Now, in terms of conservative, like say that you are in the restaurant business or like even trucking is high risk, right? So say that you are in the restaurant business, then you don't want it to be a restaurant, okay? You want to do like food distribution, okay? So when you're doing a restaurant, you want to do like food distribution. When you're in trucking, you want to do like a courier service. You want to do something that's more safe, so that way that they're aware, okay, this is the type of business or whatever. It's not long haul trucking, because when you put down trucking, again, you're going to go into the high risk. All right. So that's one of the things about it. Now, in terms of when you go to Navy Federal, in terms of going back to talking about these here credit scores, the average credit score when opening up a business bank account with Navy Federal is usually about a 680. Okay. Sometimes they will let you go with a 670. Okay. Now, internal scores, since your internal scores, those scores go from 100 to 4. All right. Now, here's the thing about it, why this internal score is so important. A lot of people, they figure that, well, with my internal score, I can get the loans and stuff like that too. But here's the thing about it, the way that Navy Federal sees it on the business side. This internal score is only good for the credit cards, okay? This is the reason why I tell people, when you open up a business checking account with Navy Federal, I always tell you to at least give it about 60 days. 60 days. And so what you want to do either weekly or daily deposit. So like say that you're driving for like Uber, Lyft or something like that, or you're some type of handyman or things like that. If you know that you're getting cash every day or being cashed out every day and stuff like that, then you want to make small deposits. Now, like I said, I always tell people, do not make Navy Federal your primary bank because they don't report to the business credit bureaus. What you want to do, Navy Federal is a tier 3, okay? They're tier 3, okay? And because they're tier 3, under the credit unions and stuff, they have a lot more flexibility. But again, when it comes to tier 3, because they have so much flexibility, most of these credit unions do not report to Navy Federal. To report to the business credit bureaus. So in terms of your main business credit bureaus, understanding that there's Experian, Equifax, Small Business Financial Exchange, okay? Then this information is picked up with D and B, all right? So many people are focusing on Dun & Bradstreet. It's because of their paydex, right? It's not your main focus. When you're trying to get business credit funding, this should not be your main focus, all right? The main focus should be with financial institutions that report to these. Equifax, Experian, Small Business Financial Exchange. So the top 3, we always talk about them, would be Capital One, Citi, and Chase, right? So those are your top 3. Now, some of you all may have Blue Vine. Blue Vine as a business checking account is not relevant. The reason is because if you don't actually have a product other than that checking account with them, they're not going to report to the business credit bureaus, and most of the time it's usually with Dun & Bradstreet. So that's the reason I tell you, you don't need Blue Vine. Now, going back to Navy Federal business account, usually they would start you out with maybe a 15 credit card. Okay, and then they may give you also a 10 loan, usually about $25,000. This is why everybody gets so excited, because you can have this no revenue. So you don't have to have any revenue in the business in order to get this. So that's the good part about it. The challenge is in terms of, do you even get through the door to even open up a checking account with them? Here's another thing you have to know. Like I said, because they don't report to the business credit bureaus, I always tell you, you should have 3 institutions, okay? So this here, Capital One, Citibank, Chase, those are your tier 1, okay? Then, these are your tier 1. Then your tier 2, so your tier 2 lenders, is which I always tell people to start with, which is your community banks and regional banks, right? So that would be like PNC, okay? Then you would have BMO, you would have Regions, okay? Those are some of your tier 2 lenders. And I always say the reason you want to start with them is because, granted, you need to open up a business checking account with your tier 1s, but your main transactions for starting out to get business credit cards and stuff would be your tier 2 and your tier 3. So I would start with a tier 3 for as my funding, and then go to my tier 2. And then once those start porting and stuff, then go back to my tier 1. The reason is that you don't want to start with your tier 1 is because if you have a short-term relationship and you don't have a lot of deposits with them, they're usually going to give you small dollar amounts, okay, less than $10,000. So that's the reason I tell you, all right? Now, if you have any other questions about business credit funding, personal credit funding, removing negative items off the credit, click the link in the description. Schedule a one-on-one consultation. Thank you.